Hello and welcome back to Great American Movie Review. This time live in video. This is my first try at this, so it's certainly going to be ugly. The lighting is bad, but I am just trying this out because maybe this will make the editing go a little bit smoother and then it'll be easier for me to do more of these, which is great because I've been enjoying doing these videos for myself, but I'm happy to see that some people have been enjoying them and following along with me. But for this episode of Great American Movie Review, we'll be talking about Eli Roth's new horror slasher film, Thanksgiving. Alright, so we'll be keeping this spoiler free. I never like to give away spoilers when talking about movies in broad discussions, so that's what this is. This is just my opinions, my thoughts on the movie. For those who don't know, or those who've been following along, you do know, I am a big slasher fan. I love slashers from the 70s, 80s, and there's been kind of I like that they've kind of made a return, but a lot of it has felt very targeted towards teens, which is fair. I mean, to some extent, they've always been targeted towards teens, but they've kind of felt a little bit too light for my liking. Even the ones that I have enjoyed, Happy Death Day, Freaky, Totally Killer was okay earlier this year on Amazon, but that one felt very streaming movie to me. This one here is from Eli Roth, who, if you're not familiar with Eli Roth's filmmaking, it's like it's a straight. This is a pretty straightforward film. It's more in the Scream vein of slasher in terms of like the masked killer concept here, um, with the whodunit angle, but it's far less self-aware than those films. Like it's not trying to like be meta about its genre constructs. It's very much just presenting it as it is. And what it is, I think, is a really solid, just straightforward slasher film. And with Eli Roth's brand all over it, because if you know his films, he likes to go bloody and frequently gross. And this movie never, I don't think, goes too gross, but it gets gross. Like there's a whole stretch in the middle there, where it's nasty, and the kills here are some of the highlights because they are really creative and brutal. I like that they really just go for it. The cast here features some familiar faces. Mainly, you have Gina Gershon in there, and then Patrick Dempsey's in there as the local sheriff, and then it's just a bunch of teen actors, common for slasher films. Obviously, that's usually what you get, but then it also plays around with the adults in there. It doesn't feel like a teen slasher to the same extent as like a Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like the adult characters are very present here, as much so as the teens, although it is following the teens most closely. And the acting here is not the standout of the movie, nor does it need to be. It's totally serviceable for what it is. I thought that these young actors did a very good job in their roles, and the more familiar faces were also solid in their roles. But there's not really any real standout to me in this cast in this film, but that's not a detriment to the film for me. That's kind of par for the course for the genre. And that's what this movie is. It's just a solid modern slasher. It doesn't shy away from any of the typical slasher elements. It doesn't shy away from modern technology. It uses all of these things intentionally in the plot and in a way that doesn't feel like a gimmick. It just feels like it's because it's in modern day and this is how this might go about in modern day. There's a really smart use of the pilgrim mask for the John Carver killer character. I think is a great character, and honestly, if they want to make a bunch more of these, I am into running this property into the ground. Like absolutely, I am here for it. We've seen franchises with looser concepts than this manage to drive themselves into the ground. So we'll just see where this goes. Hopefully, it can make some money and we could see that continue because I would love to see Thanksgiving 5 as it gets way too into the theming of it and everything. Because there's some camp quality here. It never overtakes the rest of the film. but it's very welcome when it does show up, from the way that the title shows up to different one-liners and stuff that are in the movie that are stated out loud. They hit a certain cheesy kind of element that I think it doesn't take away from anything, though, because I think the film's allowed to go there with some of the grossness and some of the brutality, that it's this welcome balance. I think I had a really good time with this as a slasher fan. Obviously, it being a slasher, it's not going to be for everybody. If you don't want gross stuff, if you don't like Saw movies or stuff like that, then you're not going to want to watch this, most likely. But if you're somebody like me who gets a kick out of that, this is a really fun time at the movies. Very just bloody slasher, not throwback, but very much it's just allowing itself to be what it is in the best possible way, I think. So, yeah, those are my general thoughts on Thanksgiving. Just as it is, I enjoyed it. There's a few big wide releases out this week with Next Goal Wins, the new Taika Waititi film, the new Hunger Games, obviously, which we'll see if I get around to that one. I don't know. But if I do, I'll put reviews for those on the channel. Either way, thank you for joining me on this mini review for Thanksgiving, and we'll see you at the movies.